Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome. Happy Thursday. So happy to be here with you guys today. And today we are going to take a deep dive into a conversation into strategies that can help elevate your sales and grow your practice. And specifically, we're going to look at how to turn less work into more money. I like that equation, Susan. I'm excited to.
Absolutely. It's the only way to do it, especially in the summer, Leslie. The only way to do it. Yeah. Yeah.
You bet. Less work into more money. I'd love to hear from you. Give me a yes in the comments if that sounds appealing, again, especially in the summertime. So I have
Yeah.
an awesome guest for you today, Dr. Susan Plank, and we're going to share a little bit more about Susan here shortly. We've got people jumping on the call, so a big warm welcome to you. And hello to everybody. I'm Leslie Bytel, and I want to welcome you to the Live with Leslie show. And today we're going to talk specifically how to offer complimentary services to help you to improve your cash flow, a very important component of your business. And for those of you that don't know me, again, welcome. My name is Leslie Bytel, and I'm a practice building expert for health practitioners that want to attract more clients, sell more programs, and grow a profitable practice, ultimately building out multiple streams of revenue inside of their businesses. And before we delve into today's amazing content, I do want to mention that today's sponsor is a lucrativecourse-blueprint.com. And this is my most popular program, teaching you all the strategies you could possibly implement so that you can generate exponential income from offering online courses, group programs, memberships, and passive income products, i.e. home study products. So I do want to let you know that the doors are still open, so you can still grab your spot. It's not too late. You will want to go to lucrativecourse-blueprint.com, as you see on your screen, to learn more. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into this really, this is such a good topic. And I love it so much because who doesn't want it, right? Who does not want to make more revenue in less time? One of our most valuable assets, certainly inside of our businesses, for sure, is time, right?
Absolutely.
And many of us find that that is a commodity that is in short supply, especially when we're working exclusively in that one-to-one model, right? We start to run out of time. And in order to grow and continue to expand and grow the revenue in the business, we have to figure out, well, how is that going to work? Quite often the challenge is that we've kind of reached that peak in terms of what we can charge, right? So we run out of time. We've kind of hit that ceiling, so to speak, in terms of the market, what the market will kind of enable us to charge. So we need to figure out additional ways to generate more revenue and to grow inside the business. And I will also say, perhaps become a little bit less reliant on the one service, and that is one-on-one, right? We definitely want to diversify. So that's really what we're going to talk about today with Susan. So, Susan, big welcome. It's such a
Thank you so much.
such a treat to have you
Thank you.
here with me today.
Thanks, Leslie.
Okay, so before we jump in, can you share a little bit about yourself and just tell us a little bit about you, your background, where you're located, and what you're doing now.
Sure, absolutely. Well, that's actually sort of all connected now. I was trained as a chiropractor. I've been a chiropractor for over 3 decades, 33 years actually. And it was early on that I realized there weren't that many female chiropractors. So my clientele was really heavy with women, which probably most of us are. They tend to be more concerned with their health. But what happened is, though, I started incorporating sort of some nutrition, maybe sold some supplements, but the more I did, the more improvements I saw, and the more clients I got referred in, which was great. But now, how do I do these sort of two businesses at the same time. And I always felt like I had one foot here and one foot over there. And then, as time goes past, I tried different things, had different coaches, and the pandemic hits. And so at that time, I thought, what in the world am I going to do now? Everything was in person. Everything was in person, and I was getting burned out. So in one way, the pandemic came along where I could maybe get some rest. But for the rest of us, right, the other part of it is, what are we going to do financially? What happens now?
Well,
And so I just,
in that,
what's that?
especially in that traditional model that you're in.
Yeah, exactly. So I took stock of myself and I thought, you know what? This is the opportunity that I kept thinking, how's retirement look like? And I just decided I'm going to make my retirement happen now in the pandemic. But I love so much what I did that I used that time to really cultivate and nurture the online portion of it. And so that's exactly what I do now. I am 99% virtual nutrition. And like once a month, I go in the office to work on some clients that I have a wait list for. But that's what's brought me to this point of how I got from where I was to where I am now.
Okay, so it really shifted for you during that pandemic.
Yeah.
And it was,
yeah, I thought I just need to take advantage of this time. There was that lull of time, and what am I going to do with it? How is it going to work for me? And that's just how I approached it.
I really love that you turned kind of what could have been just a devastating challenge into an opportunity, and really a shift in mindset, but also a huge shift in strategy, right? Like monumental, because you had, if I remember correctly, you had 2 locations as well, right?
That's right. Exactly. That's right. I had one in the suburbs with my hometown of Pittsburgh, the other one in downtown, pretty close to downtown Pittsburgh. But it was really, like I said, life was just sort of full force. And it was nice to have that pause. But I'll tell you, the other thing that was nice is that I just had to figure out how to make the leap from the in-person to the virtual, because I already had some nutrition clients. So that was a nice problem, we'll say, to have, that to already have the clients, and how am I going to work with them remotely.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about what you're doing now. What are the services that you're offering now?
Sure. So I am pretty much strictly weight loss program. I do labs. I sort of figure out what's behind the belly fat, what's causing it. I'm very much sort of a geek of numbers and labs and figuring things out. But that's the way I rock and roll, and I get good results with it. But the reality is working with you, Leslie. I remember saying to you so many times of like, I'm just so burned out. I'm so burned out. I'm so burned out. And I think all of us are in our own way. And yet as women, we somehow find the energy to keep going, right? We give it to the family. We're giving it to everybody else, and our own businesses and maybe our own health suffer. That, I remember that pyramid, the pyramid that you put up. And I thought, this is brilliant, and I have to figure out a way that this is going to work for me. And so that became sort of the impetus to move me along to how my approach is now to clients and to business.
Oh, so it was the profit pyramid.
Profit pyramid, baby. That thing, I had sleepless nights, I think, the first 2 weeks. When I thought, what in the world? Because I always had one offering. I had one thing to offer, and I didn't know any different. It was just the way it was. You take it or you leave it. And that was changed my world. Absolutely.
I love that. Okay. So if you guys are not familiar with the profit pyramid, drop me a comment and I can explain a little bit more. All right. So I mean, basically, in a nutshell, it's like an ascension model, right? And the whole idea behind that profit pyramid model really is to help you to map out different levels of service within your private practice, right? With the highest level being, one-on-one services at the tippy top of your pyramid. And as we go down, the price also decreases all the way down to free, right? Your base level of your pyramid is your free level. And essentially, this is how you get in front of your audience, right? Could be via talks, it's, blogging, Instagram, whatever it is you do. Like what I'm doing right here would be at the that base level of my pyramid, right? Doing live streams. And in the middle part of your profit pyramid is your opportunity to generate leveraged revenue. And that's what we all want, right? We want to make a bigger impact in the world, be able to serve more people at any given time. And we want to be able to, systematize to a degree some of the educational components of what we do, right? Did you experience that, Susan, where you kind of felt like I'm on repeat all day, every day, right? Kind of repeating a lot of the
Yeah,
same
absolutely. The same, saying the same things or sending the same emails or, it just over and over. And I just thought there has to be a better way between my assistant and I. We just found that most of our time, honestly, was just doing the same repetition and saying the same things over and over. And in all honesty, now in hindsight, I realize how much that was adding to the enjoyment of what I was doing. Even though I love it,
Yeah,
some days we're like, oh,
it's
can't we move this
exhausting.
forward? Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
and it's truly
absolutely.
exhausting, especially when you're repeating the kind of similar educational stuff all day, like every hour,
Right.
right?
Right. Yeah,
So
you catch yourself like, how can I say it differently? You're always trying to, what
asking
can I do? What can I say differently? How can I, present this differently? And just to keep things fresh and exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. It really is true. So there's your opportunity to really start to create, to be able to leverage that time more effectively, right? Like
Yes.
you absolutely could start with that educational piece, the stuff that you find that you're repeating over and over and over again, right? So,
Absolutely.
kind of looking at a very big picture, that's where I would start is to identify, what are the things you're saying over and over every single day. I think that gives you a
Mhm.
great starting point. Okay, so all right, so now you're working specifically in the functional medicine arena, right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
you're really taking an integrative and functional approach to helping people to manage their weight more effectively,
That's
looking
right.
at
That's right.
hormonal imbalance, inflammation, like
Mhm.
all of these different contributors to people struggling with managing their weight effectively,
Exactly. That's
right?
right.
Great.
Right.
Okay. Great. All right. So let's jump in. So, what did you find? What was most frustrating about, if we kind of look back to your to sales calls? What would you say
Mhm.
was super frustrating for you?
I think when I made that transition to virtual, is you don't necessarily realize that there is a disconnect when you're not sitting there with that person in person the way I used to. And so it might take a little bit more time to get comfortable with how you're presenting what your offer is, making sure to touch their pain points of why they need what your program is. And so that was a little bit of a learning curve for me to not be able to sit there doing it mostly on the phone, to not be able to sort of judge facial expressions and things like that. That was, it took a little bit getting used to, but let me assure you that it absolutely can be done. And so from there, you just have to find your own comfort, but taking where I was, that I only had that one offering, then it just perpetuated the reason I think why I was getting burned out is all my eggs were always in one basket. Always. It was yes or no. Everything was yes or no. There
Right.
was never another option that
Okay.
I was giving. And people were calling me, people were coming, they're coming to you for you to help. And so, to offer them different price points, different bite-sized pieces of your program, that honestly is this is where I say you're not necessarily creating that much more work for yourself, but boy, now you've opened up a whole new revenue stream for folks that might not be right there at your set price point, but you can still, grow that. Fill it in there, Leslie. No like and trust factor,
Yeah.
right? You can sort of take them along. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all important. Know, like, and trust.
Yes.
Absolutely. So you had one main offer, and what was that offer?
So that offer, it was originally it was just a one-off. It was just a weight loss program that was 12 weeks long.
Okay.
It had a set price. Things were included in it, and that was it. So take it or leave it. That's all I had.
All I got.
Exactly. Yeah. It doesn't matter whether you wanted to lose 8 pounds or whether you wanted to lose 80 pounds. That's all I had. That's it.
Okay.
That was it. Right.
All right.
So, when you start to look at it that way, that doesn't make a lot of sense. You have to have something geared towards what the person actually needs.
Right.
Yeah. So,
So
yeah.
true. So how did the profit pyramid, how did that help you to create additional offers?
So it wasn't like this eureka moment that,
Right.
oh, the profit pyramid, now everything falls in place, falls in line. But I had to sit with it a little bit to sort of make it my own.
Right.
And it's one of those, that's what I would hope that each one of you, if you don't know what a profit pyramid is, please follow up with Leslie, because she makes it a no-brainer. And in her classes, it's just a no-brainer. But it's so valuable as a starting point for you, your time, financially, and your business.
Mhm.
But to take that profit pyramid and look at that one offering I had, but to see how much went into all of that. So we had the labs, and we have a eating plan, and there's a detox plan, and even in the labs there's blood sugar, and there's insulin, and there's hormones, and there's all these different avenues that I wasn't making very good decisions with my own time. I kept putting a lot of time into new content, like this new thing will get them. This new piece of content is, or earth shattering. Well, so is the other trillion pieces of content that they're getting hit with. So it was to take that one program I had and realize the value in making that smaller bite-sized pieces. And then those smaller bite-sized pieces, the tip of the iceberg, right? Each one, if they have 30 pounds to lose, chances are that one thing is not going to be it to help them lose that 30 to 80 pounds. But it sure as heck is a tip of the iceberg that now, again, it's their belief in your method, the belief in your program, the belief they have in you to be able to help them grows tremendously. And you really now open up a chance of getting that rapport and trust versus saying, oh, sorry, I don't really have anything that fits your needs or helps you, fit you financially. So it was to look at my big offering, my one program that I had, and say, what are the important parts, and break that down into the bite-sized pieces to offer to folks.
Okay. So basically then you splintered off steps or pieces of the bigger program.
That's correct.
And offered those pieces as a starting point.
Yes.
Right.
And here's the other thing, Leslie. So to do that, it actually, each one of those smaller, now I'm working to make them evergreen.
Yeah.
Okay. Evergreen, folks. Now we're saving time, right? To work to make those evergreen, those little programs actually became more profitable. Each individual smaller program was more profitable than my big program because I tried to load everything into the big program. And as you can imagine now, with prices the way they are and everything else, the price keeps going up, but the point of what people are willing to buy, it kept squeezing the profits out. So breaking things down actually can help your pocketbook too, by not jamming them full, but giving the value and letting folks know the value, how it touches them with what you hear them saying their pain points are. And it increases your profitability, like I said, without putting a ton of time into setting these things up.
I love that. Yeah, and I remember us really, really looking at the overall profitability of some of the programs and saying, not ideal. Like we really need to make this more profitable for Dr. Susan, right?
Absolutely, Leslie. And yeah, you hit the nail on the head, because I was trying to sort of jam everything into this big program. Like, I want to give folks everything. But again, I ended up putting in all of my energy and time, and I'm a personality. I don't give up for my clients. They're going to lose weight. But the reality is, my financials were less and less as I was giving more and more. And so it was a way. Yeah, it's hard, right? You love what you do, but come on, we need to make a living. So it's a way to step back and really take stock of, you have an excellent program. You have your personality, your drive, you're bringing people to you that need help. Well, take what you've already done and now just make it a little bit smaller, make it more bite size, and
Right.
offer that. Just make sure the value's there to justify the price, and you're going to rock it. You're really going to rock it.
Right. Okay. I love that. So, can you give us an example of how you broke your bigger program into a smaller a smaller step?
Sure. So absolutely. So my big weight loss program, I'm very heavy into checking hormones.
Mm-hmm.
So what I decided this year, I did it before the pandemic, but I've got back to it, is every month I do a webinar, one day every month.
Yeah.
And so the topic I picked was menopause. I did this a couple of months ago, and so the freebie on my pyramid, the freebie is the webinar. And then I make up a little workbook. And in all honesty, month to month, I'm pretty much using the same bones, the same foundation of that workbook, maybe changing the name and some graphics to fit fix the next one. So again, we're not going to spend a lot of time going crazy
Right.
here on making things pretty. We want to get people in front of you, and we want to get dollars in the bank account. But I did this menopause webinar.
Mm-hmm.
And then what I did is I came up with a little 6-week course called Hormone Harmony.
Mm-hmm.
And so at the webinar, and of course to my email list, I offered this. But at the webinar, then I offered this as a special. And the first 10 people that sign up get an extra discount. Well, sure enough, I got 7 out of those 10 spots taken that night. And then I filled in some of the other ones. And then I built out this little 6-week program that again, they paid for. So I attracted them with the free, but pulled them into a smaller paid program, which was just around hormones and hot flashes. And I brought in weight, right? Those types of things. But it was just a piece of my bigger overarching weight loss program.
Okay, and specifically focused on the hormonal aspect of unwanted weight gain.
Yes,
right?
Exactly. That's right. That's exactly right.
I
Yep.
love that. Okay, so then I obviously the idea is to get people excited about potentially the smaller bite size offer, and then move them into the bigger program. right?
Exactly. And let me just clarify. So I no longer, unless somebody's really a VIP, which is a much higher price,
Yep.
I no longer do sort of one-offs. I call them, where it's one-on-one, one-on-one, one-on-one.
Okay.
I do a group weight loss program 3 to 4 times in a year. So the other part of this that work, the beauty of it is, if you're looking at your schedule and you have this gap, like, I don't have another thing to do for 6 weeks or another group weight, what am I going to offer somebody? Right? Because folks might want to start now. They don't want to wait for 6 weeks. So it was another benefit of having a smaller program. And in all honesty, if you can get them to buy your group program, then just discount the smaller one just to keep the ball rolling, right? So yeah, so it really is, give them something free, make sure it's good content, but then come up with, it could be blood sugar. I did an insulin resistance webinar. So then I follow that up with something about blood sugar. So you want to have it, it doesn't have to be exact, but it sort of corresponds to what the freebie was. And then you just sort of pull them along in your in your realm, in your world of what you're the expert of.
I love it. Okay, so I'm going to try to recap a little bit. So, the first, to me, one of the big takeaways is that you moved away from doing one-on-one work, unless it's, kind of an exclusive VIP level, right? But for the most part, your goal was to really begin to move away from that model because,
I
you
did.
want more
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I did, because again, I let myself sort of get so far mentally and physically that I know that I was burned out. So I needed a little bit of time for myself, and taking that step back from offering sort of a VIP or a one-on-one, which you're going to give them more of your time, but they're paying the higher price for it. To
Mhm.
be able to do that, I needed to do that. Now I am, now I'm at a point where it's like, maybe I'll consider taking on VIPs. I just talked to a prospective client this morning and offered it, but that's the first time I've even offered it in months, because I had these other things to work on and because I just needed to take some time. So, think about your own situation of, you have a vacation coming up, or family demands, or parents that you're looking out for. It might not be a bad idea to take a step back from one-on-one and come up with a smaller, little sort of bite-sized program that frees up some of your time, again, especially in the summer, but you're still going to not lose that profitability.
I love it. Okay, that's great. Okay, so you're like kind of, you'll take one-on-ones. It's
Mhm.
not like no, I won't, but it's definitely at the high end of your profit pyramid, the tip of your profit
Yes.
pyramid. And honestly, guys, I do want to clarify that is one of the beautiful things about integrating the profit pyramid into your business model, is because when you have these other offers kind of in your back pocket, it allows you to kind of bump up the value of your one-on-one and make it more exclusive, right? So instead of it being like, oh, this is the only thing I've got, right? And that's all
Mhm.
you're doing day in and day out, you add that variety, you give people, a backup option, and it allows you to elevate the value of that one-on-one, kind of that VIP level experience. So I love that, you made the goal that, we're going to move into groups. That's really going to be my primary, really the primary offer at this point,
Mhm.
at a very nice price point, very profitable for you. And I
Mhm.
hope everyone can see the value in doing this, because again, you're serving many more people than you would otherwise be able to do, right? In that traditional one-on-one model. And you can absolutely, like when you do the math, the
Yeah.
amount of revenue that you're making per hour of delivering the service is pretty much unlimited, right? Like it's
Right.
much, much higher. And that's a
Right.
beautiful thing, right?
Yeah.
from
Yeah,
your.
it is a beautiful thing because I'll tell you, when Leslie knows this, it wasn't that long ago. I think it was a month ago that I happened to have a group plan starting, and then I did this hormone harmony 6-week thing, and they just happened to start. They were starting a week apart, and it all takes some mental energy and stuff to get all these things working, get in conjunction, right? But here we are. It's like, Leslie, it's been my biggest month ever. It's just I 50% higher than what my average is. It just blew through what I was expecting. So
So
you have to look at it as it's a way to be more efficient, and you have this gift to offer, this talent, this program that you believe in. You want to get that out there to so many people, because just look around, so many people, their health needs to improve, that what you have to offer, that's what they need. That's exactly what they need. So we just need to be able to get out to more people to make more people healthy.
absolutely. Yep. So I love that's a great perspective, great way to look at it. So yeah, it makes you way more efficient. It catapults your profitability, especially when you look at, per hour, right? The revenue you can generate in any given hour. Um,
Right.
and just there's really no downside to this
Mm-hmm.
model. So the other point that I really want to clarify, just for just in case there's any confusion, is that so Dr. Susan offers this big signature group program, is kind of what I would call it, 3
Mm-hmm.
times a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what happens if someone comes along and they got to wait 2 months or they got to wait 3 months, right? So that is where these mini programs really come into play, right? So
Mm-hmm.
what Susan's doing is, so she has a lot of fires in the iron in terms of right? Like she has a radio show. She's not, yeah, she's putting it all out there. Like a
Yeah.
very strategic blogger, very
Yeah.
strategic, radio show every week and a monthly webinar, right? Now we are repurposing the content. So to be clear, it's not like she's reinventing the wheel every time she turns around. That's super important because that would
That's
just
right.
be so time consuming and very difficult. So we have a very strategic plan that helps her to save time with producing and offering like these webinars and the radio show, et cetera. But the key thing that I want to drive home is that when people come to her and they're like, "Oh my God, I'm ready," but the program doesn't start for 2 more months, what do you do? Right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
the ticket is to have splintered off one of these, and offer like one of these smaller bite-sized programs, because
Mm-hmm.
people are not going to want to just kind of wait around for 2 months. When somebody's ready, they're usually ready. They're excited. They're like, I want to start now. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Like, let's do this. So
Absolutely.
you're at risk for just losing them if you don't have something to kind of tide them over, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that's really where these mini programs come into play. And then just like what Susan said, is like the like really the bread and butter in the business is the group program, right? Like
Right.
that's really where we want people. So if we can, even pre-enroll them, even 2 months out and just say, hey, I really think this program's a great fit. I want to, let's get you enrolled, and they're in agreement. To tide them over, you could offer a significant discount on the, kind of that mini step, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did I summarize
Absolutely.
that pretty effectively?
Yeah,
Or
that's perfect, Leslie. And in fact, this week, because I have a group program that's sort of coming to an end in a couple of weeks, and so I actually came up with a mini program for my group program.
good.
So there you go. So they go through and they've lost 20-25 pounds. But I keep driving home in the group program that my goal is to get you healthier right?
Yeah.
They come to you for weight loss. They come to me for weight loss, but my goal is to get them healthier. So, hey, we need to look at redoing labs. We need to do some other things. So I put a price on that and make it, very reasonable, because they've already spent a pretty good sum
Yeah.
of money. And then I offer that now, and they have sort of 2 weeks to think about it, right? And then that becomes my next best step.
Oh
What's
my
your next
God,
best
really.
step? So this is now your next best step. Let's reassess, and then once we get those, now we know where we're at. What do we have to change up? Is it supplements? Is it diet? So I'm positioning them that they're not done, right? That they've one woman was just, honestly, I spoke to her this morning. She was just thrilled. I never thought that I'd lose 27 pounds in 10 weeks, and my energy and everything else. But she goes, I'm not done. This is my life now. And her husband's like, oh my gosh, she's like the energizer bunny. So she's like raring to go, and he's like, oh, so
Yeah.
but just wherever they are, what is the next step? What could you take them into? And it doesn't have to be big bucks, but just something to keep connected with them.
Yeah, I think that's so important. And I will even add a little bit to that, because, looking at all the businesses that I deal with on a daily basis, I would say that is a huge opportunity for almost everyone, right? Is the what is next. Okay. Huge opportunity. And almost always there's a void out there, right? So I'll give you a couple of examples. Well, first of all, I love that you came up with a next step for your group program, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, because the reality is, I would just venture to say, especially in the world of weight management, keeping the weight off is not easy, right? So,
Right.
honestly, I don't think these people are done after,
Right.
a few months. Like, they're
Right.
not done to maintain it. Like, I get the sense that people really want that. They love that sense of community, that camaraderie, that support. They also need ongoing accountability, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the risk of just kind of backsliding and going into their old ways is fairly great, especially for a lot of people. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
guys, no matter what your niche is, I really want to encourage you to, like, if regardless of what the niche is, behavior change is difficult. And you can really try to look at, well, what would be a good next step for my people? And I would even go so far to say that a great kind of a low hanging fruit opportunity might be to really take a look at, like, all your past clients or patients and re-engage them in some way, because my guess is many of them need it. Maybe it's a tune up, maybe it's some kind of a group membership where you get together once a month or maybe even twice a month on Zoom just for a short time. I mean, really, there's so many different options. But I do think that is low-hanging fruit for almost everybody. So, all right. So
And
is,
can I just add? I'd like to add just a couple of things,
yeah,
Leslie, if I could. One is, if I could throw out some advice, don't wait until your program is done,
yeah,
either to talk to them about what's next. So plan a little bit earlier, so they don't think, because, oh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I'm not where I want to be. Be a little bit more proactive,
mhm,
so to take that anxiety away from them. And I would say, secondly, is throughout, however you're approaching it, maybe you are still brick and mortar doing one-to-one, but maybe you fine tune and you position throughout your time with that client that well, we have to do this, and this is what's going to be next, and this is what I want to see. So they're always they know that you're taking care of them now, but they're also know that you're looking out for them into the future. You've sort of brought that up as part of the conversation when you're seeing them, that they expect that something is next. They expect that something else is coming along. Yeah.
yeah. So that way, in their minds, they haven't,
It's not
like,
a big surprise. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm not done yet. You're sort of doing it a little bite size as you go along. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. That's so good. So, okay, so in your next step, you're retesting,
Mhm.
and then what? What else is included in your
So part of this is I'm actually doing a couple of tests. One is a specialty test. It's for this group again because I broke my program down. So they're getting a food sensitivity test, and then they're getting retested for whatever was problematic on their initial set of labs. So they get that, then they'll get a new sort of supplement report. They get the report of findings with me. And so it's really set up that it's self-contained, but in the next 2 weeks, we know the money will be coming in now, and then they'll be getting these things done. And so we can start to plan out in the next 2, 3, 4 weeks what we'll be working on, who needs to have what done, and just sort of cultivate again business. Whatever I do now is I'm looking 3 to 6 weeks ahead of cultivating that business.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, I love that system. Yeah, and just one other thing that Dr. Susan had mentioned that I want to highlight is in her business, we are now really getting serious and moving into creating evergreen programs and products, right? Just want to put that out there, especially when we know that the offer is going to be, people want it, right? Those offers where we're like, yeah, we had a really good response. So, and that's just going to save you even more time. So, one question I want to ask you about is where do your potential clients come from? Can you expound on that a little bit?
Sure. So I do a weekly radio show. It's in the Pittsburgh area, but it's tri-state. So I get a lot of clients from there. For doing the monthly webinars, that ads are run on Facebook. So I get anywhere from, I'd say it's between 80 to 100, 120 new leads. So you're growing your list as
Okay.
you're doing this as well. So it's not all lost. If you don't make all sales, you're still growing your list as you're doing this. And just as an idea, that can be anywhere from maybe $2 to $3 a lead to do that for Facebook ads, depending on obviously the topic and the interest. And then I run just sort of a little general Google ad that lately I've been getting a lot of hits for, again, the area, Pittsburgh area, and weight loss. So between the radio and commercials on the radio, and then Google and the Facebook ads, it really has been a nice return.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. So
Yeah,
if
and don't forget that email. The emails, you got to keep in touch with your peeps there. You got to keep in touch with everybody that already loves you too. So they want to know what's going on with you as well. So the email and newsletter, right? Blogging. Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
think that's a super important strategy to stay top of mind, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So growing your list is just so critical in this whole process, especially guys, as you move into leveraged revenue. Having a list and continually integrating strategies to grow that list with the right fit clients is critical. And, doing the webinars, I really love that strategy because it enables you to get in front of your people and really develop that all important know, like, and trust. And then you're able to invite them into the next step. So it really serves as at least, dual purpose, which grow the list and generate revenue, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And Leslie, I did want to just throw out there
Yeah.
are some tech things out there, and if anybody wants to reach out to me, I'm happy to have a personal conversation with them. But I decided to go with something that's almost like it's a done for you type of thing. So you have different selections on
Okay.
webinars, and I might pick out something that's just general hormones, but then I went in and made it more specific for menopause, or like this month it's men's health. I can make it more specific and change the content. But built into that then is the email, the option to be able to email your clients and have a landing page. And so I know a lot of this tech piece, trust me guys, I get it. This tech piece, it bogs you down. It's if you're clinically minded like I am, that the tech piece just blows your mind. You're just like, oh my gosh. But these companies are out there. So if it's something that you're interested in, it can really get you out there. And make your life so much easier, and sort of do it in a spoon-fed type of way. And so I use that with Leslie's expertise to really start this and build things up as I have done. So I love the coaching, but I did have that sort of tech piece that was done for you, because I know trying to figure out how am I going to do a webinar online? It can be done very, very easily if you know easy steps to do. So,
okay. Yeah, I mean, that's a very generous invitation. Speaking of which, let me put, so this is Dr. Susan's website, the URL, healthyweightover45.com. So give her a visit, check out what she's up to, and take advantage of that generous offer. If you want to reach out to her directly, I would definitely do that. So, what did we miss? Maybe kind of like as a final point, do you have any recommendations on how we can make mini courses, kind of increase the profitability, make them profitable in one's spare time? If there is such
in one's spare time. So it is to have a good handle on what's the journey that you want to take your client on? What's your level of expertise? And then if you do have, maybe you're just starting off and you don't even have a main offering, but when you have some sense of what that is, everything, there's going to be some eating component to it, right? There's going to be some movement or exercise. There's going to be something around sugar, right? To get people aware. So right there's 3 components that you could build into virtually any sort of mini course,
right,
that folks just don't know, they don't understand, they're lacking in. And then the 4th one, you could always make specific to whatever your niche is, right? So it's not mind-blowing stuff, but it's being able to put it in bite-sized pieces and sort of pull folks along, sort of nurture them as you're taking them on your journey, but it's their journey to better health.
I love that. So profound. All right. So as we start to wrap up, is there one piece of advice that you wish everyone would take? Any kind of final words of wisdom that you'd like to share?
Yeah, don't hold back. Whatever, if you're sitting here, or you talk to Leslie, or you're thinking about lucrative course blueprint or another class, do it. Do not let finances, we will limit ourselves in our business by finances, and that's a less than mentality. You have to start to look at your time, your level of expertise, your education, your business, your family. You deserve, all knowledge is good. It's just all knowledge is good. So we're not necessarily taught the business aspects. So when you can stretch yourself and do these courses and do these classes, it really starts to make sense, and you start to get this rhythm. And so honestly, folks, I'd say, all of us in this economy, finances probably are a concern, but if you have the opportunity, do it just for yourself. Just say, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it and see what happens, because you will propel yourself not only time-wise further, but financially further than if you spend the time sort of as a pinball back and forth trying to figure it out on your own. Just do it and get ahead of the game. That would be my one one
It's
advice. Yeah,
brilliant.
one piece of
It's
advice.
dive in. Be
Yeah,
an
you just
advocate
got to
for
dive in. You're asking your clients to trust in you. You have to trust in yourself. To me, it's just common sense. If we want our clients to trust us, then we have to have the same trust that we're going to get it done and we're going to bring it to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually, I really believe that. Like, we do need to invest in ourselves
Yeah.
continually if we expect other people to invest in themselves,
That's
right?
right.
So
Exactly.
really important. Um,
Yes.
so very important. So yeah, this was such a great conversation. We are really limited only by time today. I could go on
Yeah.
and on, but I know you guys all have to probably get back to business, right? And Dr. Susan probably has clients to see as well. So I do want to really genuinely thank you for sharing
Oh,
your,
thank you, Leslie. Yeah.
gosh, it was really incredible. I hope everyone here got a ton of value, as well as those that are listening to the recording. So I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Can you drop me a line? Let me know, what is your aha moment from this conversation today? What is a big aha, or maybe what is one step that you can make to move yourself in that direction that you want to go in? Specifically around, being in a position to have multiple levels in your business, create multiple revenue streams, so you're not completely fried to a crisp day in and day out,
That's
right?
right.
The burnout
Right.
thing is real. So we really want to rein that in, so that you got to take care of yourselves, right? So we do need to solve that one. Otherwise,
Yeah.
it does impede your ability to help people. So if I can be of any help, always feel free to reach out to me. Happy to jump on a call and chat, and just kind of give you my evaluation of where things are in your business, and offer some recommendations as well. So, oh, good. Hey, Nora, we're getting some nice comments. So let's put these up. Okay, Nora will listen to this again and get great pearls on how to break down her signature program into many programs. Love it. And then there's Heidi. I'm intrigued by the evergreen, and I'm interested in putting these together. Amazing.
Excellent.
Yeah, lots
Yeah.
of good
Very
opportunities.
good. Yeah.
So, let's see. A reminder that it's time. 2 days ago, an internship client reached out, asked for help today. I gave 2 presentations for my job and received great feedback. All right, that's great.
There you go.
And love it. And we need to invest in ourselves to move forward with our business, says Heidi. Very true. Very true.
Yes.
All right. Well, I'm glad that you guys have some really good takeaways. Again, those of you that are catching the replay, I'd love to hear from you as well. So drop me a comment. Please reach out if I can help. And yeah, take Susan's. I'm going to put her. We'll end on this note. Healthy weight loss. 45.com. Yeah, reach out to her. She's awesome, as you can tell. It's such a treat to have you, Susan, really.
Thanks so much. Oh,
I
Leslie,
how much I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did too. Thank you.
All right, guys, have a great rest of your day, an awesome weekend. I'll see you next week. All right, take care. Bye for now. Bye, Susan.
Bye. See ya. Bye-bye.